It was the dead of night. The king of Aram was furious. Every time he set a trap for the army of Israel, his plans failed. He believed there was a spy among his generals, but his men told him the terrifying truth. "None of us is a spy, my lord," one general whispered. "It is Elisha, the prophet in Israel. He tells the king of Israel the very words you speak in your bedroom." The king's eyes narrowed. "Find out where he is," he ordered, "so I can send men and capture him." The spies returned with the location. Elisha was staying in a small, quiet city called Dothan. The king didn't just send a few soldiers. He sent horses, chariots, and a massive, heavily armed military force. Under the cover of darkness, they marched. By dawn, they had completely surrounded the city. There was no way out. The prophet was trapped. Early the next morning, Elisha's young servant woke up. He rubbed his eyes, completely unaware of the danger outside. He walked outside to start his daily chores, carrying a water jug to the city wall. But when he looked over the edge, his heart stopped. The clay jug slipped from his hands. Thousands of enemy soldiers, horses and chariots surrounded the city as far as the eye could see. Sunlight gleamed off their deadly swords. Panic took over. The boy turned and sprinted back down the stairs, tripping over his own feet, gasping for air. He burst into Elisha's room. "Oh, my lord, what shall we do?" he cried out. "We are doomed." But Elisha did not jump. He did not panic. He simply sat there, radiating absolute, unshakable peace. Elisha looked at the trembling boy. His voice was steady and full of authority. "Don't be afraid," he said gently. The servant couldn't believe his ears. "Don't be afraid. There was a massive army outside." Then, Elisha spoke words that would echo through history. "Those who are with us are more than those who are with them." The boy looked out the window again. He saw nothing but angry soldiers and deadly chariots. Elisha was making no sense. Elisha walked over and placed a warm, heavy hand on the boy's trembling shoulder. Elisha closed his eyes and prayed aloud. "O Lord, please open his eyes that he may see." Instantly, the spiritual realm was torn open. The boy gasped. A blinding golden light washed over his face. He looked out at the hills surrounding the city. The mountains were no longer empty. The hills were completely covered, with horses and chariots of pure, blazing fire. God's angelic army had been there the entire time, standing guard over the prophet. The servant boy fell to his knees in pure awe. He wasn't afraid of the Syrian army anymore. Compared to the blazing chariots of heaven, the human army below looked incredibly small and weak. But the Syrian soldiers couldn't see the angels. Unaware of their doom, the enemy commander drew his sword. "Attack!" The physical army began to charge up the hill, rushing toward Elisha to capture him or kill him. The servant braced for battle, but Elisha simply walked out of the city gates alone, walking straight towards the charging army. Elisha didn't ask the angels to destroy them. Instead, he prayed a very strange prayer to God. "Strike this army with blindness," he prayed. In an instant, the fierce charging army came to a dead stop. Weapons fell to the dirt. The furious commander who had just ordered the attack was now stumbling like a lost child, completely blind. Elisha walked calmly down the hill, straight into the middle of the thousands of blinded, terrified enemies. He walked right up to the commander and said, "This is not the road, and this is not the city. Follow me, and I will lead you to the man you are looking for." It was a sight no one had ever seen. The great prophet of God leading an entire enemy army by the hand, like a flock of lost sheep. Elisha didn't lead them back to their camp. He led them 12 miles away, directly into Samaria, the capital city of Israel. Once they were safely inside the walls, surrounded by the Israelite army, Elisha prayed once more. Lord, open the eyes of these men. Their sight returned instantly. The Syrian commander blinked, looking around at his new surroundings. He realized they had walked right into a trap. They were standing in the middle of the capital of Israel, completely surrounded by enemy archers. The king of Israel saw his worst enemies handed to him on a silver platter. He rushed up to Elisha, his hand on his sword. "Shall I kill them, my father?" the king asked Elisha eagerly. "Shall I strike them down?" The Syrian soldiers held their breath, waiting for the end. But Elisha shook his head. "No, do not kill them." "Would you strike down men you captured with your own sword?" Elisha asked. "Set food and water before them, so they may eat and drink and go home to their master." Instead of a massacre, there was a massive feast. The king of Israel prepared a huge banquet for his enemies. They ate, they drank, and they were sent away in peace. When they returned to the king of Aram, they told him of the incredible mercy of Israel's God. The Bible says that after that day, the bands from Aram stopped raiding Israel's territory. True peace wasn't won with swords, it was won with grace. If God's invisible army is fighting for you, there is nothing in this world to fear. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe for more epic Bible chronicles.